All right, hello and welcome to Choose Your Major. My name is Anthony Simpson, and today we're going to be going over the computer science major to help you decide if computer science is the right major for you. Today I have the privilege of interviewing Dr. Scott Little, who received his PhD in applied math and computer science from the School of Business and Technology at North Central University. He completed an advanced computer security professional from Stanford, a project management program at Caltech, a master's in learning technology from Western Governors Teachers College, and holds a BS in economics from Cal Poly Pomona and a BA in applied mathematics. His teaching interests are operations research, statistics, analytics, and machine learning, artificial intelligence. He has presented research talks and papers at mathematics and scientific conferences. In addition, he currently works as a senior data scientist at Edison Cal Poly Innovation Village. With that, Dr. Little, welcome to Choose Your Major.
Thank you.
Awesome. Hey, so we're excited about this one. It's one of the most, I would say, in-demand majors that, as I've been researching, that's something that I've found out. It's the subject of a little bit of heat when people are talking about things like truck drivers needing to learn to code and stuff like that. And it's just one of those things where it's been gaining in popularity as we're definitely as a culture shifting in this direction towards computer sciences and careers associated with that. So how would you describe computer science to a high school student that's like interested in what they think is just programming?
Well, it's kind of funny you mentioned truck driver. I've actually was a truck driver for a while. I
Okay.
have a blue collar, grew up working class, blue collar background, worked my way through college. I was a truck driver, construction worker, worked in a warehouse. So can definitely identify with a lot of students right now that are kind of in the same situation. But basically, computer science kind of it's a very broad field. It kind of runs the gamut from what might be considered on more on kind of the applied side, like information technology, that sort of thing, and goes all the way up into doing some very abstract theoretical type of work. When you get into graduate school and you're doing something more kind of on the math side, it might involve even writing theorems and proofs and things like that. I actually wrote a couple theorems for my dissertation. And so you actually get into the math, really kind of the heavy math side, but there's a lot of different subcategories for it that can be applied to just about any situation, depending on any kind of work that you're doing, from, just point of sale, like if you're working in a retail establishment or something, or a restaurant that you're using, point of sale type of devices, automated devices like anything on a computer. You could involve setting those up, doing apps for them, that sort of thing. And also, on the hardware side, where it comes to the repair side, where you're actually doing hardware repair, you're repairing the computers, you're modifying them, you're fixing them. So it's a huge field with so many opportunities. And with, with the way everything is going, becoming so automated and everything online, and also with a lot of everything being kind of set up for like automation with machine learning and what they call AI, artificial intelligence algorithms. There's a lot of opportunities to go, and really, it's as wide as you make it. You can be a business admin major, business administration major. You can look at going into like a subfield, like working with computers, like computer information systems or something like that, where you're actually doing some programming, or maybe you're working with a database, you're setting up a database or something like that. So there's so many different opportunities. Starting out, if you're a gamer, I mean, I was a old school gamer, Mario Brothers and all that when I was younger. I love that kind of stuff. And, both my boys are huge gamers. They love, Call of Duty and all these other games. We went through a World of Warcraft period and,
Same.
did that. My son did Evolution for a long time. So we're big time, we're all techies and coders and total gamer geeks and all that kind of stuff. And there's all kinds of opportunities that you can look at game design. You can look at doing anything. And I have one son that works at Raytheon right now, and he does a lot of working with the systems there and everything. And my other son just graduated UCLA, but they're both huge in computers. And basically, everything they do involves something on a computer. So it's really just a matter of finding something you enjoy doing. And you'll probably find something related to maybe not hardcore computer science per se, like you don't have to write, new algorithms, but you may be utilizing some of that in your work. You may be actually applying that in what you're doing. So there's all these opportunities to do whatever it is you're interested in, and just kind of take it in that direction. Now, if you're specifically interested in computer science, again, different fields, subfields you can go into. If you like more of the hardware, there's the computer engineering where you're actually building the computers, and then the software where you can get more into the coding and the programming side. And then on top of that, also, again, you get into now machine learning things, which I do a lot of machine learning and AI for both Southern California Edison and as a professor at Cal Poly too. So
Sure. And as technology is emerging and stuff, how involved are computer scientists with things like blockchain technology?
yeah, very much so.
Very
Very
much so.
much.
And
Yeah.
so I've noticed that with a lot of these types of things, for somebody who is interested in computer science, I imagine, like you had been talking about with gaming and different software, hardware companies associated with maybe your interest, whatever that is, your people start looking into jobs and things like that. But you also, on the other side of things, mentioned in the very beginning, like those POS, those point of sale systems that grocery stores are using to accept your credit card payments and stuff like that. And so they have their IT department and they're hiring computer science majors. Or something I wanted to ask you personally is this something you believe that if I could go say I'm considering computer science as a major, what's the difference between me going and getting a certificate from some program such as like Cisco or something like that that can teach me their technology and their system versus going and getting a computer science degree? Why would the computer science degree hold more weight in this case? Or perhaps, how would you make sense of that for the student who's curious?
I think I think they're both great ideas. I mean, it really depends on what the application is and what your focus is. When you're getting a certificate, it's usually really specific, like the one I got at Stanford in computer security was an advanced graduate level certificate. And it's specific in one area and you're focusing in that area. It's almost more like an on the job kind of thing where you're learning specific to a job that you're doing, or you want to do a job that's related to that. That's more of where a certificate comes in, and getting certified, I think, is a great idea. I have a brother who is a Microsoft certified engineer, and he was able to get a lot of work that way, and he's able to do really well with it. And he doesn't have a 4-year degree; he just has a Microsoft certification. But he's able to find work, and he's a programmer and does really well at it. And in the case of like getting a bachelor's degree, well, first of all, you're going to be learning a lot of other things, just extraneous things. You'll be taking other classes. And spending time on campus, hopefully when everything gets cleared up, or at least doing partially. And it's that whole experience of spending time there and being in that whole experience of being on campus and everything that's part of the whole thing. And it's also learning different subjects and kind of incorporating everything into what you're doing. So it's usually more general. You get a lot more general information. It takes longer, obviously, to get like a bachelor's degree than a certificate normally. And it's usually in preparation for like an entry level job. Whereas a certificate, maybe you've already got some experience in that job and you're just kind of furthering your knowledge. So there's pluses and minuses to both, but it's really just depends on your focus. And a lot of people, they may get a degree in something. Maybe they get a degree in business administration and then further decide they want to go, more specific or deeper into some sort of programming. So then they get a certificate on top of that in something. So it's a great way to go in either direction.
Okay, so that's amazing information. Thank you for that.
Sure.
With that being said, now you had mentioned higher education, you master's, PhD, and things like that. What role does research play into the career world of having a computer science major?
Research depends on usually research at an undergraduate level. And again, I teach at Cal Poly, which is known for kind of what they call hands-on learning, where motto is learn by doing. So we have a lot of engineering. My other son went to Cal Poly for engineering, and it's very well known for that, and
Wow.
doing a lot of hands-on applied. So as an undergrad, you can do research kind of more on the applied side, like if you're doing projects or something like that. When you get to graduate school, and depending on what kind of, again, what subfield you want to go into, it gets a little bit more abstract, and you kind of get more into the theory part of it. Part of like doing a doctoral or PhD is you actually have to either add to an existing theory or work on a new theory. And so it really depends on what type of thing that you're interested in. Sometimes someone might decide, oh, I want to do more applied things. They love to work with, they like to build things. They like to test things. They like to put things together, get into robotics. Again, my son was really big on robotics, loved robots, still does. And that's part of what he does is his job. I love robots too. I
Wow.
get to, part of what I do at Edison is working with robotic data and stuff like that, because
Wow.
we do have a lot of robotic and automated systems there. So it really just kind of depends on your focus. But as far as research goes, you can go, anywhere from, again, just the kind of the applied side where you're maybe you're testing a new hardware system or something, all the way up to you're developing a new algorithm and maybe a new AI model that's going to be run on computers. So
Sure. Yeah, I can see that. So are the your are a lot of the students that come through you and are being taught by you, are they asking, are they like really interested in going towards those higher education degrees, or are you noticing more of a trend towards getting their undergrad and hopping right into their career field? What does that look for them? What does the typical student process look like? Are they doing internships maybe?
there's a lot of, at Cal Poly, we have a lot of internships with local companies. In fact, Edison, we have a lot of interns. Some of them are my former students, and
Wow.
some of them. So there's a partnership because before COVID, we actually, our facility at Edison was on campus. It's in a technology park on campus. So we would actually have a lot of student interns, a lot of Cal Poly grads. Again, my undergraduate degrees from Cal Poly. My wife's graduate degrees from Cal Poly. One of my sons is from Cal Poly, and I work at
Wow.
Cal Poly. So we're a real Cal Poly family.
Yeah.
But um, so there's a lot of interaction between industry and academia in that sense, that there's a lot of cross fertilization, people working for us, teaching classes. I've taught classes at Edison too. I've actually, we have classes there that we teach. Part of my job at Edison is to be a teacher, as well as on, Cal Poly itself. So there's a lot of cross fertilization between the two. There's a lot of ways to do both. You can be an intern, you can still be going to school. Um, Again, some students, they're pretty much, they want to just go right out into the working field and find something. And an internship is a great way to kind of test the waters and figure out, oh, if I really like this or not, or maybe I'll try something else instead. And I think it's a great idea, honestly, is to have a little time in the working field, even if you want to go to grad school. It's a great way to just work for a couple years, kind of get an idea. And a lot of times you can just transition into something in graduate school that's directly related to what you're working at anyways, especially if you're in a STEM field. It's really basically you're just transitioning into a graduate program where you've already got some of that on the job experience for that same field. So it's a great way to kind of try it out and see if you like it.
Mhm. Okay, that makes sense. Take a look, or listen to this one. So this is an article I have from U.S. News.
Mhm.
It's on computer science, and it's probably one of the most. It's shown a light on how amazing this field is. This major is. It's got some of the highest salaries I've ever seen
Oh yeah.
for any major, and so it says this. It says the median salary among computer and information research scientists was 118,000. The median salary among computer network architects were 109,000. And software developers also typically receive generous paychecks. Their median salary in May 2018 was 105,000. So in this field, there's career paths that people can take that are extremely lucrative and extremely successful. How often are your students pursuing these types of things? And maybe have they ever come back to you and said, hey, this wasn't for me. I actually found out that I really like this or enjoyed this.
Yeah, well, definitely. Most of my students, because at Cal Poly, I'm in what's called business, and it's called technology and operations management through the
Okay.
business school. And it's the side of the business school that's kind of more technical. We have a lot of, uh, we do a lot of work with some of the engineering students and things
Wow.
like that. We do cross projects with them. Um, there's a lot of what they call the CIS majors are part of it, which are the computer information systems. Some of the other majors that I get are like e-business and things like that,
Okay.
electronic business, e-commerce and things. And so they're usually students that are already interested in something related to highly technical things, maybe more of a business setting. And sometimes they may decide, well, I wanted to go more on the more of the straight business side. And other times they may decide, well, I want to get more of the technical side and
Okay.
kind of get more into the coding. So I kind of try and give them a taste, a little bit of both. Since I primarily teach statistics and analytics and machine learning, I try and give them some business applications when we're doing problems, but I also show some of the machine learning and AI and that sort of thing too for the students that are interested in that. I show them a little bit of code in R and Python languages, which are the two most common types of languages they usually use in machine learning and AI to kind of give, you know, because there's a variety and you try and find something that at least someone's interested. If they have different interests, I try and make sure that I try and include everybody, that it's real inclusive and everyone that's interested in a variety of different things. There's a lot of diversity in there, so I try and make sure that I'm including everybody. But the great thing about it is if you decide you maybe a little further on that maybe you want to go more into management or something, you could always get a master's degree in business like an MBA. Or if you decide you're a real techie like I am and you just want to go straight into the coding and the math and learn the techie stuff, you can go right into that and do that. So it kind of gives you an opportunity to do a lot of different things. And you can end up doing maybe part of your career is one and part of your career is others. So there's all these different avenues that you can take.
Are there some sort of like emphases that you can select that you pick or concentrations within the major?
Yeah, I know at Cal Poly they do have different sub majors available. Again, there's computer engineering, which is more of the applied, a lot of the hardware. There's straight computer science, CS, which would be more of the coding and the programming. Then you got, again, and where I teach, where there's kind of a mix of business and computer science and computer engineering kind of all mixed together when we're learning that, plus the mathematics part of it too. So there's really, it's just, there's so many different ways you can go. It just depends on personal preference. And sometimes it's good to just try a few things out and see if you like them or not.
Okay. And so that leads perfectly into the last question that I really wanted to ask, which I think is probably one of the more important questions for young students, high schoolers, maybe first or second years in college who are still trying to figure things out. How do you how do you find out what it is that you're going to maybe enjoy without that time sacrifice of 1 2 years 3 years down the line and then regretting the decision that you made, realizing that man, I should have gone in this direction because it fits my strengths better. What advice would you give to that student trying to find the best major for them, as it pertains to somebody who's already taking an interest in computer sciences?
I'd say one good way is to maybe find a mentor in that area, find someone, either a teacher, professor, maybe even start at the high school level, find a teacher that's teaching something that you're interested in, and kind of meet them off hours, maybe even volunteer to help them out. If they have a computer lab at that school, maybe volunteer to help out with that. If you're more into like applied stuff, if they have like some sort of a class that you're interested in, you can just help out. Any sort of technical lab or some kind of a thing, and just get an idea of what it is, without having to, risk too much time in it. A good way is just to volunteer. That way you're not having to worry about taking classes and spending money on it. If it's something that's maybe not for you, you decide further down the road you'd rather do something else. See if there's any sort of like unpaid internships available. Like a lot of students, again, will come to Edison, and just, again, we pay our interns, but they'll just to get an idea, they'll even do a summer internship. It's only for a couple of months during the summer, and they'll see if it's something they really want to do. So there's a lot of different ways to just kind of, again, kind of test the waters, as they say, to try and see, maybe this is something I'm not quite sure. I kind of am interested, but don't know if I really want to do this. And then you can meet someone with that experience already, and they can kind of help give you advice and kind of guide you and show you what they do. And then you can kind of help decide, well, is this something I enjoy doing or not?
That sounds like an amazing idea. I know that for me, one of the tools that helped me so much in selecting the major that I picked, which was communication studies, has a lot to do with interviewing, and a lot of what we're doing right now was really just shadowing other people who like to do it as well. And that's how I picked up an interest with it. And so I know that a lot of high schools are emphasizing STEM and robotics classes and different things like that. It's growing and gaining in popularity, including in coding and different things like that, which I feel like there really is no better way to get your feet wet. So many YouTube tutorials and little things like that can be incredibly useful. I know friends and we would hop on World of Warcraft and create like private servers and stuff like that. And that has like coding and stuff like that you can do. And even kids playing Minecraft or coding for things that they like. And, it's very expensive. Well, I want to thank you so much for your time. I know your time is valuable. It means a lot to me that you would take this time to come on and share your expertise, share your knowledge with us. I know it's going to help a lot of students help choose a major for them. And I just thank you so much for your time.
Oh, you're welcome, Anthony. And thank you for taking the time to have me. I really appreciate it. And it was very interesting. And I love doing stuff like this. I love helping people. I love teaching. And, it's great to see. I love to hear about people wanting to learn about what I like. And that's always fun for me. It's like, it's a lot of fun to be able to know that this, like you talk about STEM and robotics at the school level. I love hearing stuff like that.
Yeah, well, that's awesome. Well, again, thank you so much, and I'll definitely send you the progress of this episode, so you can go ahead and take a look. Maybe share it if you'd like with any of your students who are questioning, hey, what do I do? Maybe you could shoot them this way.
Sounds good.
All right. Well, thank you. You have a great night.
You too. Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.